Hey, George Payton, are you going to hurry up and pay Zack Allen? What's going on, Broncos country? Gage Madrid here, Denver Broncos Syndicate. Welcome into our 5th Denver Broncos positional deep dive video for the 2025 season. In this series, we go in depth on each position group, assess their strengths, assess their weaknesses, and determine how they're going to contribute to the team in the upcoming season. Today, we've got an absolute banger. We're going to be previewing the defensive line for the Denver Broncos. I think this past Super Bowl proved that if you want to beat Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, you've got to be able to generate pressure with a 4-man rush. And I believe that the Denver Broncos are more than capable of doing that with this unit as well as the unit that we previewed yesterday in the edge rush room. If you guys want to see that positional deep dive, the link will be in the description below. Before we get into this one though, guys, if you could just do me a big favor and smash the like button on this video as well as subscribe to the channel, I would really appreciate it. Those are both free and easy ways to show your support. It helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out, and it helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country just like you and me. Alright, let's go ahead and get into this defensive line room without further ado, and we're going to start off things with Zack Allen. He had one of the top interior defensive lineman seasons in all of Denver Broncos history last year. Up until Zack Allen arrived, the Denver Broncos hadn't had a true pocket-collapsing interior defensive lineman since Derek Wolfe. Zack Allen comes in, has a really great season in 23, but takes it to the next level in 2024. He had 61 total tackles, 8.5 sacks, 4th most amongst interior defensive linemen, and a whopping 15 tackles for loss. But when you look beyond the raw stats and look at the advanced metrics, it gets even better, especially in pass rush. 639 pass rush snaps, that along with 317 run defense snaps just in the regular season. This isn't including the playoffs. Zack Allen played an ungodly amount of snaps. If there's one thing I want to take away from this video, I'm hoping that somebody like Savion Jones can step in and relieve Allen for a few snaps here, because he can't sustain playing that many snaps long term. He's going to get injured. But last year, on those snaps, he had 75 total pressures, most amongst interior defensive linemen, and 5th most amongst all positions. That's nuts. An 11.74 pressure percentage, 28 non-sack quarterback hits, which was the first by a mile amongst interior defensive linemen. The next best guy was Chris Jones, and he had 15. 35 quarterback hurries, 11th best. 11.5% pass rush win rate, which is 18th, but that's mostly a product of him playing so many snaps. He was really efficient in the snaps that he played. In run defense, still really good. Not quite as good as pass rush, but on those 317 run defense snaps, he had 26 run defense stops, which is tied for 7th best, and 8.4% run defense stop grade, which was 11th. Missed tackles, a little bit too high for my liking. He had 8 missed run game tackles, a 15.4% missed tackle rate in the run game, which was 8th highest, but hey man, he was still really efficient. I'd be willing to forgive that. He had a 50.4 PFF run defense grade, mostly a product of the missed tackles, but overall he was still getting stops, he was still getting stuffs, and he was setting things up for other teammates to come in and make the tackles. So, Zack Allen, man, I can't say enough about how much the Denver Broncos need to pay him. He is a big part of what the Broncos do. He eats so many double teams up front, and he allows guys like Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper to get one-on-one matchups. Zack Allen is a big reason why our edge rush room produced at such a high level last year. JFM was also a big reason for that. We're going to give him his flowers in just a second. But Zack Allen needs to be paid now. I want him to get paid before week 1. I don't know if it's going to be before training camp kicks off, but I'm hoping before we play our first game against the Tennessee Titans, Zack Allen is locked up long-term here in Denver. The entire defense would take a massive step backwards in production if Zack Allen wasn't on the field. I cannot stress enough, he is the straw that stirs the entire drink for the Denver Broncos defensive line, both interior as well as edge rush. Pay this man his money now. But that is not to take away from the incredible season that John Franklin Myers had as well. His first year in the orange and blue definitely delivered the goods, and Getting JFM for a future 6th round pick was probably the biggest steal of the entire offseason last year. The Jets gave up on him way too soon, and they definitely had some seller's remorse after that. He had 40 total tackles, 7 sacks, and 8 TFLs in his first season in Denver, and then when you look at the advanced metrics, he had just 368 pass rush snaps. I say just, that's still a lot, but it's definitely a lot lower than what Zack Allen had. 53 total pressures, tied for 9th best. 14.4% pressure rate, so that's higher than Zack Allen. He was more efficient out there, and that makes me wonder how much Zack Allen's efficiency would go up if he played less snaps out there. It definitely makes me wonder. 9 non-sack quarterback hits, tied for 14th. 36 quarterback hurries, tied for 9th. 18.4% pass rush win rate, which was first amongst interior defensive linemen. Shout out JFM. 84.3 PFF pass rush grade, 4th best. It's a PFF grade, but still high, still good. He had 160 run defense snaps, which was 92nd amongst interior defensive linemen. Just 12 stops, a 7.5% run defense stop rate, 4 missed tackles, and a 58.2 PFF run defense grade. So you can definitely say that John Franklin Myers wasn't as good in run defense as he was in pass rush, but if you just have him out there in pure pass rushing situations, then he's going to produce for you. And especially since you've got guys like DJ Jones and Malcolm Roach who are more akin to playing on rundowns, you don't really need to play JFM on rundowns too often. That's why he only got 160 run defense snaps last year. You've got him in here as basically a pure pass rushing defensive end alongside Zack Allen. That is a lethal tandem. And then you've got DJ Jones in the middle anchoring the whole thing. DJ's role is a little bit limited with the Broncos, basically because he only comes in on early downs when the Broncos are in base defense, since he plays nose tackle. He's not going to really play too often when the Broncos are in nickel or when they're in dime, but he was efficient as a run-defending, gap-clogging interior defensive lineman, and that's why the Broncos prioritized re-signing him. They needed a nose tackle, and DJ Jones, certainly, you could do worse than him at nose tackle. 42 total tackles, 1 sack, 1 TFL. His pass rush stats aren't anything to write home about, but that's not what he's here to do. He's here to defend the run. 255 pass rush snaps, 17 total pressures, 6.7 pressure percentage, 1 non-sack quarterback hit, 15 quarterback flushes, 7.3 pass rush win rate, and a 71.2 PFF pass rush grade. Nothing to write home about there, but in run defense, that's where he shines. He had 206 run defense snaps, 24 stops, and 11.8 run defense stop percentage, 4th best in the league. Only 4 missed tackles. His PFF grade does not make sense to me. It's a 60.9. I don't get that. He was really efficient in stopping the run last year. DJ Jones, he plays that nose tackle role really efficiently, and the Broncos really like him. So I feel like he's in line to continue this level of production next year. He's a solid player. He's not the best nose tackle in the NFL, but the Broncos clearly felt that they could do a lot worse, and that's why they prioritized re-signing him. I like DJ Jones for the somewhat limited role that he fills with this team. And now moving into some of the key rotational players for the Broncos. Malcolm Roach is a very interesting player because he's kind of a hybrid. He'll play defensive end and he'll play defensive tackle at times. So he's kind of a mixed bag, almost a joker on the defensive line, if you will. 27 years old, so arguably entering the athletic prime of his career in his 2nd year in Denver. He had 43 total tackles, 2.5 sacks, 5 TFLs. He had 274 pass rush snaps, 25 total pressures, a 9.1 pressure percentage, 5 non-sack quarterback hits, 17 quarterback hurries, and an 8.3 pass rush win rate, 64.7 PFF pass rush grade. Decent in run defense as well. 208 run defense snaps, 21 stops, a 10.4 run defense stop percentage, just 3 missed tackles. Again, these PFF grades I don't really get. It's all the way down at 59.4 when he was more than efficient at that position in the run game. So Malcolm Roach, he's a guy that's going to come in, be your key rotational guy. He'll rotate in for John Franklin Myers and DJ Jones at various times. Malcolm Roach definitely in line for another big year for the Denver Broncos this year because they're hoping to rotate in their defensive linemen a lot more to take some snaps off of John Franklin Myers and Zack Allen's shoulders. Like I said earlier, the guy that I'm really looking towards to take some snaps away from Zack Allen is going to be Savion Jones. Zack Allen playing 1,000 snaps, again, is just not sustainable, and I'm hoping Jones can come in and maybe play 20 to 25 snaps a game or something like that in a rotational role. 40 total tackles last year at LSU. He mostly played as an edge rusher, but given his size and build, the Broncos envision him to be an interior defensive lineman, a defensive end predominantly for this team in their base 3-4 defense. 40 total tackles, 4.5 sacks, 8 TFLs on 321 pass rush snaps, 41 total pressures, 12.8 pressure percentage, 6 non-sack quarterback hits, 30 quarterback flushes, and a 15.7 pass rush win rate. Jones showed a lot of flashes as a pass rusher, and that's predominantly what Zack Allen and John Franklin Myers do. So having him come in on these obvious passing downs, maybe second down, that way you can bring Zack Allen and JFN back in on third down. I could see a role for Savion Jones in that category. He had 260 run defense snaps, 19 run defense stops, a 7.5 run defense stop percentage, 7 missed tackles in the run game, a 21.2 missed tackle percentage, so that's not great. Definitely could stand to get a little bit better in the run game, but that's why you have other guys who can rotate in to play that role. I envision Savion Jones is going to get quite a bit of snaps in his rookie season. The Broncos really like him, and I think they envision him as sort of a rotational defensive end in year one. And then I briefly did want to touch on Jordan Jackson. He did play 300 snaps for the Broncos last year, but even in his very limited role, he was replacement level at best. 163 pass rush snaps, 17 total tackles, 1 sack, 1 TFL, just 9 total pressures, a 5.5 pressure percentage. That is putridly bad. 1 non-sack quarterback hit, 7 quarterback hurries, just a 3.6 pass rush win rate. Yike-a-roni and cheese. 51.0 PFF pass rush grade, do with that what you will. He had 147 run defense snaps, just 5 stops, a 3.5% run defense stop rate. Did have no missed tackles to his credit, and his PFF run defense grade was a really bad 42.4. I don't think that Jordan Jackson is going to see very many snaps this year. At least I hope not. I'm hoping the addition of Savion Jones is going to be able to limit the role for Jordan Jackson. Maybe he'll compete for a practice squad spot, but this production, even in a limited rotational role, was bad. There's no way to beat around it. It was bad. He was just bad. So I feel like the Denver Broncos knew that going into the offseason. That's why they targeted a guy like Savion Jones. And we'll see what happens with Jackson, but not good. And then finally, we have our developmental and undrafted players who are going to be fighting for spots on the practice squad. Starting things off with Ioma Iniuwazurike. He's entering his 4th year with the Broncos. Technically 3rd because he didn't play at all in 2023 because of a suspension. Last year, he played 63 snaps on defense and 21 snaps on special teams. Him playing snaps on defense was more out of necessity than them actually wanting to get a look at Uwazurike. We'll see if he's able to impress in training camp in the preseason, but I would say that he's very much on the roster bubble right now. Same thing for Matt Henningsen, another guy who was drafted in 2022. He's a guy who spent all of 2024 on the practice squad, recorded 0 snaps whatsoever for the Broncos. He's another guy, a veteran who I think is very much on the roster bubble. Jordan Miller, he didn't get any snaps either. He was on the practice squad. He's in his second year out of SMU. He's a big nose tackle. We'll see if Miller can maybe rotate himself in, but I don't think it's really going to happen with the depth that the Broncos have. And then finally, Christian Williams out of Missouri, another big nose tackle. The Broncos need bigger bodies on their D-line. That's definitely one area where I would say that they're a little bit short right now, is a true two-gap clogging defensive tackle, 320 plus pounds. They don't really have a player who fits that mold. We'll see if maybe Miller or Williams can put on some weight and maybe fill that role, or maybe even Eni Uwazurike. But right now, the Denver Broncos definitely have a strong rotation on their defensive line. And just like I said earlier, the best teams in the NFL have strong rotations on their defensive line. The Philadelphia Eagles copied that model to a T last year, and they walked away with the Super Bowl championship. The Broncos are trying to follow the same model this year. We'll see if they're able to put it all together and get top-tier production from this unit. I'm really optimistic that they will. All right, Broncos country, let me know in the comment section below. How excited are you to see this defensive line in action this year? And do you think that this D-line can be as good or maybe even better as the Eagles D-line last year? Drop those comments down below, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts, as always. Be sure to leave a like on this video as well as subscribe and ring the bells. These videos appear in your notification feed. I would really appreciate it, guys. Those are both free and easy ways to show your support. It helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out, and it helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country just like you and me. And until next time, guys, I'm your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.